giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We stream it live on YouTube after this beautiful bye week. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom. What's happening? Coming up today, Cowboys were off. Yes, indeed. So we're going to take a look around the league. We don't got a game to discuss, but we'll discuss some of the other ones, okay? And since the Cowboys were off, nothing on Monday, no reviews, but we'll talk about this rookie draft class, where they're at. Take a little review on them, update on what they're doing now, and maybe what they could look like moving forward for the rest of 2023 and beyond. So we're going to actually break down pretty much every pick. We'll go in depth with what I call the big three, right? There's three of them that are the big three so far this season, and then there are kind of the guys that are the rookies in waiting. So we'll touch on that as well after the roundup. Plus, if y'all missed the round table on Friday, first of all, Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
If y'all missed the round table on Friday, you missed a classic. So make sure y'all run that one back. I think it's up now on Law's channel. Obviously, it's on Vach's channel because that's where we streamed it live. But man, what a great one! That was our longest one we did, about 2.5 hours roughly. And usually, I'm always finishing the round tables. I'm like, man, we could have gave more. We could have gave more. But since we did it on a Friday, and we were like, hey, let's just go. We went. We pretty much covered everything you could think of from that show. So hopefully you catch us again sometime at the end of the year, preferably in February. But we'll see. We got a long way to go until we get there. You know what I'm saying? Long way to go. What's good, though, Bomb Squad? Appreciate y'all for jumping up in here in the morning. You could be starting your day anywhere, but you are here on a day where the Cowboys didn't play yesterday. But, man, we almost had the perfect Sunday go for us on the bye week. I think, though, it was still good. There were some teams you obviously wanted to lose aside from the Sunday night game. But I think the Cowboys got a couple to go their way, and they walked away from this bye week feeling pretty good, getting an extra week of rest. They're now back at the Star, likely doing meetings and whatnot and prepping for the Los Angeles Rams, which we will break down starting tomorrow. This week is going to be a bit of a different type of week because of the bye, and later on in the week I will be out. So make sure y'all stick around for that tomorrow. But let's jump into this roundup, go around the league real quick, have a little fun, and talk about these rookies.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup.
Let me
Round them up,
you.
boys.
Come on, LA Knight. Got to come in there a little better than that. Let's go around the league right quick. By the way, hope y'all enjoyed y'all bye week. Y'all chill, not having to stress, just kick back, relax. I did. It was wonderful. No stress on that day. Start at the top here. The Bears defeat the Raiders without their top quarterback, by the way. Without their top quarterback. They go on to 2-5, winning 30-12. The rookie, is it Beignet or what have you? But really the player of the game in that game was Dante Foreman, had 3 touchdowns, I believe. Came out of nowhere. If you had him on your fantasy team, good for you. Good for you. The Browns moved to 4-2, defeating the Colts in what was an unexpected barn burner, right? 39-38. Myles Garrett just is Superman. I know we talk a lot about Micah, but to me, it's the big 3/4, right? With Nick Bosa. I throw him in there too. But Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt. Garrett and Watt showed out this week, and Garrett pretty much put them on his back early in that game. Blocked field goal, couple sack fumbles, one resulted in a touchdown. Dude's an absolute animal. He has the most sacks of all time before the age, I believe, of 28, I think it was. He surpassed Reggie White. So shouts out to Myles Garrett, one of my favorite defenders in the National Football League. Browns get the dub, 39-38. Bills lose to the Patriots, 29-25. Who? Mac Jones, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen, another turnover, which, again, that's Josh Allen, but he tried his best. He had 2 touchdowns as well. But they ultimately allow the Patriots to drive down the field, not for a field goal, but for a tutty, to put the game away and win with 12 seconds left. And then Josh Allen fumbles the ball, I believe, on the next, 12 seconds. So on the next play, and next thing you know, game, set, match, Pats. Pats win 29-25. Bills move to 4-3. Very quietly, the Bills haven't been all that great this year, but it's the Bills. No one cares about the Bills up there. The Commanders take the L to the Giants, 14-7. Shouts out to Tyrod Taylor. If my guy Authentic is in the building, shouts out to you, sir. The Giants get back on the board, their first victory in quite some time. And Tyrod Taylor, dare I say, looks like a spark plug for the lowly New York Giants. I've always been a Tyrod Taylor fan, man. Like, everywhere he goes, he's just always been either a quality backup or he's been able to kind of be that quality bridge guy. I thought Tyrod was about to get his shot in Buffalo when he took him to the playoffs. Didn't play too bad either. And then they drafted Josh Allen, and that was wrapped from there. But I've always liked Tyrod Taylor. I've always advocated for him to be a backup here in Dallas, whether it be early Dak years or late Tony years. But Tyrod Taylor I think he's a good quality backup to have in your room as long as he's staying healthy. So shouts out to him for having a good game, 2 touchdowns. I don't believe he turned the ball over as well. And he got Waller going, 98 yards and a tutty himself. So maybe, just maybe, with Tyrod Taylor, these Giants, could be a bit of a pest in regards to being tougher to play against. Because remember, they played the Bills tightly last week and probably should have won that game, but neither here nor there. Shouts out to you, Tyrod. The Buccaneers and Falcons game was one of the strangest 13-16 games you'll see because the Falcons get down into inside the 5, inside the 3, inside the 2, and they get 0 points. In fact, they turned the ball over twice. Ritter, look, man, they teach you in football when you are running, and specifically running towards the outside and close to the boundary, you put the ball where? Cowboys Nation. Outside hand. Never on the inside. That's just football 101. That's Pop Warner stuff. And he's running easy touchdown into the end zone, and he starts jogging towards the end, has the ball on the inside. The defender comes, knocks the ball out. It gets a touchback, and the Buccaneers get the rock. The play or the drive, I think before that, or 2 drives before that, Drake London does some somersault flip. The ball falls at the 1-yard line. They review it for like 15 minutes. The next play, Ritter fumbles the ball at the goal line. The Bucs recover. What a strange game, but they walk away with the victory, 16-13. And in that game, Mike Evans kind of came back to life with 82 yards and a touchdown, but not enough to get the victory. Falcons move to 4-3. Bucs 3-3. That division is really strange. Earlier in the week on Thursday, the Saints lost to fall to 3-4. So the Falcons are your division leading NFC South division leading team as we speak today. What a weird division. Oh, but this next one. Boy, they spent all week talking up those lines, didn't they? Oh, those Detroit lines. Look, and I like Detroit, right? Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, defense kind of starting to come around for them. Really good defense this year. Good scheme and all that stuff. But I think we do underrate the Ravens. You know, that's a good defense over there, too. One of the best in the league. That's still Lamar Jackson. As much as people want to poo-poo on Lamar, that's still Lamar. And Lamar put on a show. 357 passing yards, 4 total touchdowns. Absolutely routing the Lions 38-6. They got a little fair share of their humble pie. They got a little bit of their humble pie. Okay? Everybody. Look, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. It might happen 2 or 3 times to some of these teams. They're going to get punched in the mouth. The Lions got punched in the mouth, and they just could not respond in that game. Amon-Ra St. Brown did have a buck or two through the air, but it was a Lamar Jackson show. It was the Gus Edwards show. He had over 100 total yards as well in the touchdown. Really good stuff from the Ravens. They're 5-2, and they might be one of the, if not the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC. Steelers get the dub 24-17 over the LA Rams. Cowboys opponent coming up, so that was a game you guys should have been paying attention to. Another game where Matt Stafford throws an interception. He's now sitting at about 6 or 7 turnovers in 7 games for the Rams. Now, he still averages a tremendous amount of yards per attempt in that game, but that's the thing about Matt, right? You just be patient. He's going to give you one for sure. Puka Nacua went off, $154 in that game, but it was the Steelers walking away with 2 scoreless quarters against the Rams, the first and fourth quarter. And what a pick by TJ Watt. Drops in coverage, reads the play from Matt Stafford, jumps in front, and almost takes it to the crib. Steelers defense gets it done. They move to 4-2, another strange 4-2 team, but they find ways, man. Mike Tomlin find ways. Controversial play, though. At the end, controversial play, and this is why it's important to have your timeouts, right? At the end of the game, Kenny Pickett clearly did not get the first down on a tush-push quarterback keeper, whatever the hell you want to call it. Knee goes down, a terrible spot, but they can't review it. It's like 2 minutes and 12 seconds in the fourth quarter. They have no timeouts to challenge, but the booth can't challenge it, and the Steelers walk away with the victory. Really weird stuff. Nothing crazy here. Seahawks beat the Cardinals 20-10. Moving on. Broncos beat the Packers 19-17. Moving on. Chiefs. Home of the Chiefs. 31-17 against those Chargers, huh? Chargers scored 17 this week. Chargers scored 17 last week. And let's be real, they only really scored 10. And then the week before, a pesky 24. Chargers offense is starting to get a little strange, isn't it? Getting a little strange, right? Patrick Mahomes just obliterated that Chargers defense, by the way. 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Travis Kelce, 12 receptions, $179 for a tight end. It's crazy. And a touchdown. Justin Herbert with 2 interceptions in that game. At the end of the game, kind of just throws one up. But, hey, happens to the best of them, right? But they are now 2-4. Chargers starting to look a little weird on that side of the ball. They got some things to think about. I doubt Brandon Staley makes it through the rest of the league or the rest of the year. But then that means Kellen Moore is probably the head coach. Hey, part of me wants to see it. A little bit. Not gonna lie. And then finally, the big matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles at home in the Kelly Greens against the Dolphins. They walk away with the victory, 31-17. The game was a game. It was not a barn burner for a while, but it was a tightly contested defensive game. 10-17. Eagles get the ball back, I believe, after a failed 4th down conversion where shouts out to Sed Wilson. He made a couple big plays in that game. Face mask, no call, but ball don't lie. The very next play, pick 6 by Jerome Baker. And they tie the ball game up 17-17. But to the Eagles' credit, they drive down the field, take the lead 24-17. And as the Miami Dolphins are moving down the field, getting into the red zone, Tua Tagovailoa, which I saw this a couple times. Let me bring y'all back here and talk about it with y'all, Cowboys Nation. I saw this a couple times in this game for the Miami Dolphins. And I guess this is sometimes where, you can be so creative, and sometimes you get too creative and it bites you in the butt. But back to the interception. He drops back, throws kind of a rainbow lefty, which he throws a lot. That's his thing. But there's like 2 or 3 Miami Dolphins in the same area. And I believe it was Darius Slay peels back off his guy, gets the rainbow interception, and the Dolphins can never quite catch up after that. But yeah, a couple times I saw a couple Miami Dolphins in the same area. And I was like, somebody ran the wrong route. Because there's no way you should have 2 guys within 5 yards of each other. They got away with it one time, didn't get away with it the other. Darius Slay making the big play as a veteran that he is, pulling off and peeling off his guy and getting the pick. So, it was a good game, though, up until that interception. They drive down, they scored a touchdown. That was it. It was about 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. Game's over. Game's over. Shouts out to Philly. Got to give them their respect. They bounced back from their loss last week. And as much as we hate the dudes, they're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a tough beat because they do 2 things well, probably better than any team in the National Football League. They can block you up front by hook or crook, and they can get after you on the other side with probably the deepest defensive line in the league, or one of the deepest defensive lines in the league. So the Eagles moved to 6-1. That was the one. If the Eagles would have took that L, they moved to 5-2. Dallas is only a half game out, and they play the Eagles, so that could have been a big matchup. Still will be a big matchup. It could have been a swing game, but that was really the one out to put the cherry on top. Didn't happen. Still think it was a quality week for the Cowboys moving forward, though. Truly do believe that. So that was your Week 7 scores, brought to you by BT Furnishings. They make shopping fun, fast, and easy. From mattresses to furnitures in your house and even decor, BT Furnishings is your one-stop furniture shop with their buy more, save more sale, which is going on right now. Hear me out. Spend $999, you save $100. You spend $19.99, you save $300. And while the supplies last, they gotta last. Go in there, let them know about the Skywalker special, and you will get a reclining sofa, a love seat, plus a free recliner for only $9.99. If you're looking for quality furniture at an amazing price, stop at one of the locations today in Arlington, Dallas, Garland, or Plano, or go to btfurnishings.com to furnish every need in your house. That's BT Furnishings. They make shopping fun, fast, and easy. We got something cool coming up. I want to tease it a bit here with BT Furnishing. As you guys know, with some of our sponsors, we do shows remote. Like, we'll go to the site and we'll hang out and we'll do some things. Now, normally, we don't have people there because the show was early in the morning. People are at work. It's the weekday. It is what it is. But this one is going to be special. I'll have specific details. But if you do show up, they will be giving away $50 gift cards. There will be a recliner giveaway. I ain't never seen that. They're just going to give somebody a recliner. Just for being here, for showing up or whatever. They're going to be giving away a recliner, and they're going to be giving away a Micah Parsons jersey. So all the details of how to get that will be coming up here soon. We'll be there the week of the Philadelphia Eagles game. And again, I'll be promoting that throughout the week. But man, shouts out to BT Furnishings. They're generous. I'll just say that. So if you are in the DFW area and you got some time to spare in the morning, come stop by the show, or you got to be stopping by the show. You can stop by in general. Let them know, hey, you're here on Skywalker's behalf, A to Z's behalf, and boom, your name gets entered in for a chance to win said recliner. So I have more details coming up moving forward. Hey, I didn't, bro. 68 says, Sky said, I ain't never seen nothing like it. Shit, me either, bro. When I was talking to the lady, she was just like, yeah, we're going to give away a recliner. I said, well, can I enter? How can I enter? How can I rig this to where I get the recliner? I'm playing, y'all. I'm not rigging nothing. This is for y'all. But damn, I want a Skywalker recliner. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, appreciate y'all rocking with me going through this Week 7 score. I just saw somebody here in chat say Wilson over Gallup. Who was I talking to? Let me see if I can go back. Foots. That's who I was texting. It was Foots yesterday. And I was just sitting here like, same thing, Special K. We were talking about Coop, right? Like, how do you pick Gallup over Coop? That's obvious. You just don't do that. But I could have sworn when this whole thing went down, we also were talking about here in the chat and on the show. Hey, I'd have kept Said. I think there was more versatility with Said. He ain't coming off a damn knee injury. He can do slot things, outside things, trick plays, special teams, punt return, gunner. Thought there was more value in Said, but water under the bridge. Water under the bridge. All right, y'all. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's show, and that's reviewing this rookie class, which it's been a quiet outing, let's just be honest, for the rookie class, but specifically for most of the dudes. Again, there's the big three, and then there is, let me make sure I got them pulled up right. There are these guys who, for the most part, are basically rookies in waiting, obviously, for the top guy, for obvious reasons. But let's start from the bottom, work our way up to the top, all the way till we get to our big three. Eric Scott Jr., 5th round pick, the Cowboys traded up for, who started off hot, right? Started off hot in training camp, and that kind of tailed off throughout the rest of camp and preseason, right? It started to show that, okay, he's going to need some time. He's been inactive in every game so far. And look, not a shocker. For a lot of these dudes, it's not a shocker given what the rooms were when they got drafted here. But Eric Scott Jr. had a tough hill to climb. Had some injuries break his way where you thought maybe he might get a shot, but then they bring back a guy like Jay Lou on the roster. Obviously, you have, at the start of the season, Diggs, Bland, Gilly, Jay Lou. You know, Nashawn Wright got injured, so he was out. Thought that's why Eric Scott would get some tick. But he didn't show enough to really get thrown up in the fire. You know? So this is kind of going to be a learning year for the young buck out of Southern. Damn it, I always do this. Is it Missouri, y'all? I don't want to do this to y'all. I did this last time. Y'all killed me. But I don't foresee Eric Scott getting a lot of tick moving forward. I feel like he'll be inactive for the most part, because then you still got Izzy McQuamu, who will get some, cornerback duties as well. So he'll continue to be out there, but I don't mind this being a learning year. Learning behind Diggs. He might not be on the field, but you can still talk to him and learn behind the scenes. Stephon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year. DeRon Bland, who is obviously still learning himself, but he's a dude that has a ton of snaps under his belt. And then Jordan Lewis. It's a good room for him to learn and for him to kind of get better from the mental aspect of his game. Physically, he has the physical gifts. It's all about the mental part for him. So more so put a pin in Eric Scott for next year. Awesome Richards. Awesome Richards is the only one of these dudes to actually play this year, and it's mostly been in blowouts. 22 snaps on the season. Here's my thing on Awesome Richards when you do see him out there. Not a lot of snaps, but he's played 5 snaps at guard and the rest at tackle. You see the athleticism, right, at the line of scrimmage, or you see it when he's climbing to the second level. There is obviously something there from an athletic department. We're going to need some of that off-season peanut butter, right? Like, he's going to have to get some strength moving forward. But I am a fan. I've said this to you guys many a times, and I bring it back here. I'm a fan of keeping Awesome Richards as a left tackle moving forward, especially because we know Code 77 is a thing. Doesn't sound like Awesome's going to be your backup tackle anyway this year. That'd be Chuma Edoga. But moving forward, Chuma on a 1-year deal, technically Tyron on a 1-year deal. I don't see Tyron returning. I would move forward with I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I'll move forward. I would at least entertain the idea that maybe Awesome can be your tackle with Tyler at guard if they want to keep Tyler at guard. If their thing is we want to move Tyler at left tackle, then Awesome kind of becomes your swing guy moving forward, and then Tyler's your left tackle. I don't know that they're settled on one or the other just quite yet, but I'm a fan of Awesome being a left tackle, not a left guard. He did some good things at left guard in the preseason, but and even some good things in a few snaps he had in the regular season. But again, most of these things are blowouts, so I don't. There's not too much to put on a guy like Austin Richards from the film because he's only had 22 snaps. But that's 22 more snaps than Junior Fehoko. Junior Fehoko, who's also been inactive in every game so far. So when he was drafted, Coach Floyd came out and said, hey, we think he can get on the field this year and this and that. And I'm like, look, Coach, I like it, man. You know, like what you're saying here, but how, Sway? Barring injury, I just didn't see how Junior Fehoko would get on the field. If you're looking at him as a defensive tackle, he had a lot to go through there. If you're looking at his defensive end, forget about it. Forget about it. That room is way too loaded. So he's been inactive every game. They were never going to cut him. I know that was a conversation by some in the offseason, but he was a 4th-round pick. That just never was going to happen. They're developing him, I believe, moving forward to kind of be that hybrid guy moving for the future. And if we know one thing about Dan, he likes the versatility of all his players. He wants them, or at least 90% of them, to be able to do multiple things. And that's the thing with Junior Fehoko. He's a guy that can play the run well. He's a guy that has a high motor. He can do some 5-tech defense end things. He can do some slide in that 3-tech thing. So, you won't really see Junior this year, I think, barring injury. But another dude who's going to be learning behind a veteran room moving forward. And we'll be looking at Junior next year. DeMarvion Overshown. What could have been? Only reason why this guy is a rookie in waiting is because he got injured. There's no doubt in my mind, after seeing what we saw in camp and in preseason, the way he just captivated the room, the team, and just, I hate to even use the term flash, right? Because it wasn't just like he was just flashing. My man was just bright as the sun. My man was bright as the sun, and the only time that light wasn't shining bright when it was time to lay your head down and chill. And that means when it was time to go home. Any other time he was on that field, he was making plays. He was flying around. He was showing leadership. He was going to be a major part of this defense. You started to see his role starting to form in camp and in preseason. And one of the things, and this is what I love about DeMarvion Overshown, one of the things I had noticed and I said this to y'all before, when taking a look at him throughout the draft process, not even the draft process, but after they drafted him, was, man, this dude literally can do things at all 3 levels. I have no idea where they're going to put him at, but damn it, he's going to figure it out. Whatever they decide to eye in on. I didn't want them to put him all over the place, not year one, not especially if they show he can handle it. Let him settle in somewhere, and it was linebacker. So he'll figure this thing out. I just didn't expect him to figure it out that fast. He figured it out fast, man. I feel like Demo would have been, he'd been a fun playmaker. He would have been a fun playmaker on this team. I'm hoping that the ACL injury doesn't slow him down too much next year. Like, one thing I've been doing this and trying to put biases to the side, I do have to understand major injuries like this. Yes, they'll be able to come back faster, modern medicine and things like that. But the mental, you can't do anything mentally. There's no medicine for you to mentally get over these things. So it may take some time for him mentally to get over it. It may take half the year, maybe more, for him to get over it. I just, selfishly, I hope that's not the case, right? Like, selfishly, I hope he's able to, he's 22 years old, whatever, young kid. Hope he bounces back real fast and everything's good to go next year. That's what I'm hoping for from a selfish fan standpoint. From a realistic standpoint, I understand it's probably going to take some time. And when we talk about draft, that's a position we're going to be talking about again. Third, if you ask me, 3rd year in a row. 3rd year in a row, we'll be talking about him. Okay. Let's get into our big 3 before we hit the phone lines here. If you do want to call in with your opinions here, please do. 351-999-3787. Just don't go overboard in regards to, we ain't trying to be on the horn for 25 minutes a call. But that is the phone line. Let's get into the big 3. Let's start off with the young Deuce Vaughn, 6th-round pick out of K-State. So far right now, 48 total snaps, 19 attempts, 39 yards, 5 receptions, 19 yards. So coming into this thing, listening to Mike, you figured, oh, well, it's going to be some type of role for Deuce Vaughn. Lies. Mike can't figure out how to utilize Deuce within the game flow outside of maybe one game, the New York Jets. That's about it. So if you look at last week, they pretty much gave up on it. They basically said, okay, we don't really have a plan for him during the games, so we're going to designate him a healthy scratch, and we're going to call up Malik Davis. And they asked Mike, hey, what was that about? Mike said, special teams. He could have said, yeah, we don't really have nothing for Deuce anymore, and he can't do the special teams things, right? Like Malik Davis can do the gunner things. He can run down. He can do kickoff. He ain't doing that with Deuce. And if you're not going to have a plan for him from an offensive standpoint, he really can't help you on game day. So they call up Malik Davis, and unless things change drastically from a usage standpoint in the backfield, which we could argue there's an issue with the usage standpoint in general with the backfield, Deuce Vaughn, barring injury, will probably come along a lot slower. Here's my problem with the situation with Deuce Vaughn. Here's my problem. I just don't think, again, he's even getting a fair shake here. 12 of his 19 carries are between the tackle box. And most of his carries come in a blowout. When the teams know that, the Cowboys are running and they're just trying to give the ball to anybody. And then what pisses me off, it's just like the line hates this young man. Now, the line hasn't been great run blocking in general consistently, but boy, it ain't so great when Deuce gets in there. So I just think they're pretty much tapped on, not even tapped, they just tap out on how to utilize him, which is a bit frustrating because when you go back and you look at the Jets game, when they got Deuce Vaughn on the outside, he had a couple good plays. When they got Deuce Vaughn utilized in the screen game, he had a good play. But if they're just out on it for right now and they're like, hey, man, and you're not going to block for Deuce Vaughn, then, yeah, you really can't play him because he's not going to be able to give you anything from a special team standpoint, and he'd be taking up a roster spot for a guy that can do it. But I do believe, just like a lot of these guys, Kevontae Turpin, Brandon Cooks, are explosives, right? There are ways to utilize these dudes. We're just, for whatever reason, not utilizing them in said way. So if you're not going to do that, then they're going to do what they did last week. Call up Malik Davis. But run blocking in general just hasn't been great. Run blocking for Deuce hasn't been great. Usage for Deuce hasn't been great. And I think they're just tapped out on it, on Deuce Vaughn. For right now. Maybe later, maybe something will pop up. Obviously, guys get dinged up. Things happen. It is what it is. But for Deuce, I think they tried it for the first 6 weeks. They don't like what they see. And let's see what happens moving forward. What I hope happens, if I may, I hope maybe we see a little bit more, Hunter Lipke in the short yardage situations on the goal line or whatever, like we saw in against the New England Patriots. Maybe some play action stuff where you dump it off to him or whatever. I personally would like more of a PCP. What do you call it when it's not PCP, but more of a flow with the backs as opposed to there's one guy and there's another guy who's just a reserve. Like, that's not the way to go in this league, in my opinion. On to our 2nd round pick. The most controversial pick of the 2023 NFL draft for the Dallas Cowboys. One of the most controversial picks in some time. Not going to sit here and fake the funk to you. Y'all know how I felt about the pick. Not going to relive the entire emotions of the pick, but it was a bit of a shocker for me. Because I just didn't think you needed to do that in the 2nd round, and they did it. But he's a guy who they're going to need to get some type of momentum going forward on this back half of the year. Look, if they don't go out and go get a tight end, this whole Zach Ertz thing, apparently there's no legs to it. Then they need to get more from him from a passing game standpoint. Look, right now he's an extra blocker. That's fine, right? Like, hey, look, he does some good things as a blocker, but he has not been an option in the passing game. And what's more baffling to me is that they seem so damn hung up on taking a tight end. He just seems so hung up on taking the tight end early, and they did in the second round. But they're not really using the 12 personnel set to their advantage, or they just can't get anything out of it. At least on early downs. Last year in 2022, the Cowboys used 12 personnel on early downs, the sixth most in the NFL. That has dropped all the way down to 21st. And that's with Luke getting 143 snaps. Now, that line right there is kind of crazy. 1 reception, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. That'd be cool if it was a game. 5 targets. That'd be cool if it was a game. It's not a game. It's not practice. That's the season. All right. And the Cowboys, when they did run 12, they were really successful, especially passing the ball. They were one of the better teams passing the ball. In fact, I think it was over 100 quarterback rating out of 12 personnel when throwing the ball last year. This year, 12 has just kind of been obsolete. They've run heavy to running it. They've run heavy to max protecting it. They're just not getting much out of the opposite tight ends, not named Jake Ferguson. Speaking of which, I just think they need to focus on Ferg when it comes to some of these certain situations. They're trying to get Luke involved early, and I think maybe to justify the pick, right? Like, second round pick, got to get him going. But why? When you got a better tight end, a more versatile tight end, a more dynamic tight end than Jake Ferguson, let him get busy. And I always talk about trust. I think there was a little bit trust lost, right? When you drop that ball in the end zone, when you get a dot put right on you for a touchdown, right? Especially given that it was a contested catch type of situation. You got to make that, because that was one of the things that he struggled with in college. He just wasn't a contested catch guy. And I felt like that went underrated. Like that didn't get talked enough about to me. When people were championing for Luke Schoonmaker after the pick about, oh man, underrated pass catcher. I'm like, yeah, if it's there, if he doesn't have a lot of guys on his body or whatnot. But how many times you seen Luke just go up and get the rock and just make some crazy contested catches? Not a lot. I think he was something around 2 for 13 in his career or something like that. It was very, very low. Very, very low. It wasn't a yak type of dude. He's a big body. He can block you well. He can be an extended tackle, but that's not why we draft you to be an extended tackle. We draft you with the hopes that you have upside as a passer, and it may be there, but it may be next year. But it ain't. It doesn't seem like it's at this moment. He's an older prospect, so it needs to be soon. And I think it needs to be in the second half of the year, because we need to use 12. If he doesn't start to show something, they go put Peyton Hendershot back in there. And Peyton Hendershot ain't really showing me nothing either. I'm a type that's kind of out on Peyton Hendershot. I would love for him to get in there, though, and go berserk. But it's Jake Ferguson, and that's it. For a team that has historically over the last 5 or so years used 12 personnel and use it to their advantage, you need somebody to step up. You need your second round pick to step up. Point blank, period. But this is Lunda Wells talking about Luke Schoonmaker and his development here.
He tied in.
In terms of Schoonmaker?
Yeah.
We got behind the 8 ball a little bit in the offseason with the injury. But since he's been able to get back on the grass, he's continually gotten better. Some of the things that we've been emphasizing in the run game, is playing with a little bit more play strength, and in the passing game, just being more decisive. So we continue to work on that, and then also just the ball skills and rack ability. So he's progressing. Hadn't had a ton of production. He's had some opportunities for some production in the passing game, obviously, as we all know. But at some point in time down in the near future, we're hoping to make some hay on some of the stuff that we've been working on with him.
Yeah, I'm hoping we make some hay too, Coach. I'm hoping we make some hay too. Got to get it going. And finally, before I hit the lines here, your first round pick, it's another semi-controversial pick to some. Mozzie Smith. So far, 97 total snaps, 4 tackles, 2 stops. I'll get to that last part here in a second. We actually talked about Mozzie last week on how he's showing some growth each week, or marginally, as AD said. We'll get to AD a little bit later. And you can see it. I think when you put on a film, you can't put on volume stats. You just won't see it given his role. But when you put on a film, you see the marginal growth, right, for Mazi Smith. This is not a guy that is going to come in here and be Jalen Carter. Like, it's not Jalen Carter. I know there's a lot of people that was talking that Jalen Carter stuff in the offseason because Cowboys Eagles, but let's just be frank here. He ain't Jalen Carter. However, you can see him doing his job better and better each week, whether it be man and double teams, whether it be utilizing his strength, getting off the ball a little bit better, angles. Like, these small things are what is going to continue to make him a better player, but they're not going to be developed overnight, right? So he's kind of baking in an oven right now and not in the microwave like a lot of society wants it to be. And when they were drafted, when I say they, I meant he. When Mazi Smith was drafted and when the Cowboys put an emphasis on stopping the run last year, they brought back Hankins, right? You brought back Hankins, you drafted Mazi. I think they've done a pretty good job. Now, it ain't always been clean, but I think they're doing their job. Last year, the Cowboys were 22nd in yards per game on the ground. They're 17th this year. But here's the big one, and that's the final stat I have down there. Running backs are averaging just 3.5 yards per carry against the Cowboys this season. That ranks 8th in the NFL. 3.5 yards per carry ranks 8th in the NFL. Last year, the Cowboys were not top 10 in that category. Not even close. And aside from really one game, and that's the Arizona Cardinal game, which, hey, it happens. They've been doing really well against a lot of these high-end running backs. And I think that has a lot to do, and it's not all Mazi, obviously, but I think that has a lot to do with them emphasizing the ground game. And let's think about this or emphasize run defense. Let's think about this for a second. This is with your second level not having some superstar there. Hankins and Mazi's job, right, is to two things. Make sure that these lanes are clean for your linebackers. And then from time to time, I need you to cause accidents at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. I think that's where the next part of his growth will be for Mazi Smith, is to force the issue in stopping the run, is to cause those accidents behind the line of scrimmage. I don't question his hustle at all. Mazi hustles his ass off. In fact, one of the plays early in the season happens because of his hustle, right? You see his strength. That's what, again, if you want to get excited about something later on, you see the strength that he has. Now it's about understanding the technique and how to utilize that strength down in and down out. One of the things we talked about in the offseason that I speculated was that you'd see a good chunk of Hankins and Mazi on the field. And we have. We've seen a good bit of it. And I think it's been a plus for the Cowboys because one of two things are happening. Either teams are just like, hey, we're going to throw the rock. Or B, they're not really teeing off on the ground. So it's a marginal difference, as Coach AD would say, or a marginal improvement, as Coach AD would say about on Mazi Smith. But again, this is one of those things where you will never really be able to see his marginal growth week in, week out without putting on the tape and not watching the box score. You're not going to get anything from that at all. You're just not going to do it. So Mazi Smith, which I didn't even have Mazi as our most impactful guy. I actually had it as Deuce Vaughn. We did this little game before the season. I said, I think it'd be Deuce Vaughn. I thought Deuce Vaughn would carve a role. I thought he'd be able to be, something on special teams, possibly get, your catches. And it wasn't Mazi. But at the end of the day, it is Mazi so far up to week 6. He's played something around like 18 snaps a game, maybe a little less than that. Season high 22 snaps against the Niners. And you just see it. You're starting to see him kind of understand the game a little bit more. Let's see what happens in the second half of the year. But again, he has a great mentor, I think, and Jonathan Hankins, a really good dude. He has a veteran lineman room, and I think AD is a fantastic coach. And here's AD on Mazi Smith if you missed it last week.
That's a good question. A lot, and I think we sometimes take it for granted when you come in the game as a first-round pick, like the pressure that's on you, the game that you've got, like college football, I'm not from. I never was in London, played in college. I didn't come in for. But the game is a lot different. You know, like the way they get told plays, like a lot of them, they're getting like 80 snaps a game, you know, like the play's moving fast, the coordinator's telling them they don't have to listen to communication. Now all of that's changed, you know, you get into a huddle, someone gives you the communication, you line up, now what am I getting? These things are changing. I think as we're going through this, Marzi's growth and understanding of how to play the game at that level is growing. You can see week in, week out, he's making marginal gains, and that's what it's about. It's not about like, he doesn't go... Like, he's around a good group of players that he's in a position where he can grow, and he's in the right place. He's doing good. Really happy for him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he is in a great position to grow. I know for the most part, we want Dexter Lawrence year 4 results now, right? Like I use Dexter Lawrence because he's one of the guys, Quentin Williams, and these are higher draft picks, right? That didn't start off the greatest. And then they round into that form. But we want those results now. I'm not gonna be lying. I selfishly want that too. But I can't stand on context matters and not talk about the context and the realities of the situation where it just, as much as I want Mozzie Smith to be 5 sacks a year, you know, Vita Vea right now, it's just not gonna happen right now. But I am excited for the future of Mozzie because when you put on the film, you see the things that make you excited about him from a physical standpoint. It's just about the how to now, the learning, the small little things. And if you go back and listen to Hankins said something about his game that made me think about Mozzie's, where he said, look, this dude is the strongest guy on the team. No doubt about it, right? But I feel like I'm one of the strongest on the field. He said, I know how to use my strength on the field, whether it be with angles, whether it be with my technique, whether it be with how I get off the ball, how I set, how I, he said, I can use my strength on the field. And I was like, that stuff that we don't really think about or necessarily care about, especially when you're a first round pick. All fans want is instant success right now. So I understand it. But Hankins, former first round pick too, by the way. But Hankins, when he brought that up, he said, yeah, I can't do none of that stuff out there. I can't do that. But on the field, I know how to utilize it. And I think once he understands that and just the other nuances of the game that I can't even tell y'all about because I'm not a defensive lineman. I'm not a defensive line coach. I didn't play defensive line. There's just so many other small things within the game that you have to pick up that make you get that much better and you see marginal gains. Coach AD's my guy, man. Coach AD's my guy. Marginal. All right, let's get on the horns and rap to a guy who is not going to give us a marginal call. It's Toxic Tom. What's up, man?
Good morning, Sky. Just wanted to say, hope you enjoyed your Hattie B's dinner since you rigged the contest last week like Michael Scott when he gets a surplus.
What? A Friday. Nah, man, nobody get the answer, bruh. I don't need no gift card. I can walk in there, Skywalker still. Let me get number 5. It's on the house. Got
a simple question for you today. What is Dak Prescott's shoe size? 10 seconds. Oh, nobody got it right. Bummer.
Hey, I couldn't give y'all 30 seconds for that, man. That's easy. You could just Google that. I don't want it to be Googleable.
That's fair, though. But first off, not going to be toxic today because we're talking about rookies, and it's really hard to be toxic about a process that a lot of people don't want to admit.
No, it ain't, because you got fans who are going to go berserk over the rookie class after 6 games, 100%.
You had fans going berserk after the rookie class after it just happened, and I don't know how many times you have to hear people say
it's true.
You have to wait 3 years, give it 3 years. But as of right now,
I thought it was first.
Big picture, I'm really happy that we're not having a ton of impact from our rookies right now because this was a loaded team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that we're not having tons of undrafted free agents and rookie draft picks taking away from teams and positions, that we need impact right now. Because if you're trying to win right now and relying on multiple rookies to just step in and just take you to a Super Bowl, I don't know what kind of rocks you're smoking, but I'll take a couple because it just, generally speaking, doesn't happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the specifics and you go, okay, Mozzie Smith, he's not going to light up a stat sheet, but that's not what a one-tech defensive tackle in year one or even really ever going to do. And then you look at the tape of Mozzie and you go, are you seeing things that show, is he getting better? And are we seeing the things that we drafted him? Is this all happening? Like, good tape is good tape, and you got to be really specific with those types of positions. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't say I'm disappointed about Mozzie. Go ahead.
No. I mean, we had this we tried to have this conversation off season, right? At least I know we did on Vacha's show where, and I said it here. I said, let's be completely honest. You can skip the entire draft right now, and you still have a team that should be able to compete, right? Because you were filled up for the most part in regards to your starters and even most of your depth. So when you talked about this rookie class, I just never really seen a guy that was going to come in here and start. Now, DeMar Van Overshown, that was a one position, right? That position, and when we thought that, who was it? We thought that maybe Tyron Smith might retire, and now guard could be a spot. The guard and linebacker were the one position where there might be a possibility of a guy being able to step in there and start. But other than that, most of these dudes are going to be reserve dudes, or they were going to be guys later on in the year or later on, next year or what have you you'd have. Yeah. Now with Mozzie though, we understood he would be part of the rotation, especially when they brought back Hankins. Hankins was going to be the starter, and Mozzie be a part of it, and he is a part of it. And I think again, he is showing that marginal growth. He's just not the uber impactful player that I think everybody wants him to be. And look, if that's your criticism on it, that's fair. You're entitled to your opinion, but I'd say let's revisit this next year at this point in time. I think you will see not just a marginal growth from him. I think you'll see Mozzie Smith taking that year 2 leap.
Absolutely. I'm glad that they're not saying, okay, Mozzie, week 1, I need you to be the defensive tackle on this team, where if I'm going into week 17 and Mozzie is contributing on a rotation, which is what you're going to need to win a Super Bowl, I'm fine with that. Like, I got to temper my expectations, and you can throw all these outliers. Well, what about Vita Vea? What about, and I can name you 3 other guys who were drafted high that didn't do shit. So, again, I just got to temper my expectations when it comes to rookies. Even like with Luke Schoonmaker, he didn't have a training camp, and I go, okay, is he doing well right now that we drafted him for? He's a good blocker, and he's continuing to be a good blocker. Not saying that justifies the pick or he's playing well, but I'm tempering my expectations with him going, okay, we're not even really using our tight ends. So in the chances that he's able to contribute, is he still doing anything good right now? And that's just kind of have to roll with it with rookies. And in 2 or 3 years, and if guys aren't getting better, that's when you really start getting the, quote, grades. Which I can't stand that they do that.
Yeah,
so
I don't do grades. I like what I do. I like how we do rating the draft, where we talk about we'll rate the value at the time. We'll try to rate their long-term outlook, maybe their year 1 impact. That's way better to me than. But look, grades are easy, clickable. It's easily digestible. It's I get it. Whatever.
Yeah. And overall, I just got to say that this rookie class is just kind of doing what I expected it to do. I knew that there was. What makes a good team when it comes to drafting, and I know a lot of fans hate hearing this, they're not drafting just for this season. They are thinking the immediate impact and long-term impact. And if you're seeing traits in players and you're looking at guys like J-Ron Curse, and I go, if I put DeMar Van Overshown and I give him a few years or even next year, is he going to be better than paying a guy like J-Ron Curse? What's the rate of return on drafting and developing a guy with these tools going into the future years? And that's what makes this a hard and debilitating process for a lot of fans, because they're just thinking of the next few weeks. I'm trying to win right now. Not how the draft works. So overall, love the show. Hopefully Little Deuce Vaughn can, get more involved in the offense, because it seems like what you're hitting on is we're not using our guys correctly. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, especially on offense. But overall, love the show and can't wait to call back again. And Ryan All's waiting to come back too.
We go.
Have a good day.
I was waiting. Appreciate you. You know what I'm surprised about, Toxic Tom, that you're not on the Hunter Lipke train, right? Hunter Lipke, basically your Ryan Nall type of situation. You should be pushing for Hunter. Pushing for him. Yeah, but I think we are at that point right now though with the backfield where it's not being used correctly, in my opinion. Even eliminate Deuce. Like if you even eliminate Deuce one, because I don't think they're going to use him moving forward you still got a talented group to use moving forward that they just aren't doing it in that manner. And we can blame the line, we can blame the calling, the play calling or whatever, but the how-to, I'll continue to hammer it home until we see it kind of get back to what it was doing earlier. The how-to is my issue. And that front, and look, the front do got to play better. There's no doubt about it. Daryl from Fort Worth, not Dallas. What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Daryl? Kind of breaking up a little. Nah, you sound like you're choppy a bit, bro.
You know, it's raining outside.
Nope, gotta let you go, Daryl.
Okay.
You gotta try to call. You gotta try to call back, bro. Let me remove you here. Yeah, it sounds like you got abducted by the aliens, sir. Sound like you got abducted. Go through that tunnel real quick. You know what I mean? Get out the basement. Come on back. I got you. The Guru says, what do these coaches expect from Deuce? I mean, not much when you're running him like that. You know what I'm saying? Not much when Chuma is letting the guy go right into the backfield and getting pushed all over the ground, yeah? Not much when there's not really anywhere to run. Chuma basically, or not Chuma, Deuce became kind of the punching bag at the end of the games earlier in the year, right? When we blowing teams out. Hey, let's just throw low ass Deuce in there and we're gonna run up the middle. Yeah, I think they just didn't really, they don't have a comfortable way to use him. Because the problem they ran into in the Patriots game when he wasn't going out for a pass and he had to pass protect, obviously it did not go well. But just from a pure running standpoint, I mean, this dude, it's just like they getting the Willie Beeman treatment, right? Man, this midget back here. We ain't blocking him. Oh, wait a minute. What's up with the little people slander? Why y'all not blocking for my little man? You got Deuce Vaughn. I mean, I'm going to ask y'all the same question I asked y'all the other day. If Deuce Vaughn had Kyle Shanahan or Mike McDaniels, do you think he would have 12 carries? 12 carries in between the tackle box. Bro, ain't no way. They be utilizing that man's skill set to the fullest. And you got Mike in the offseason talking about, yeah, man, we just got to get him, right? And then, no, you're not really getting him involved in what is his strengths, in my opinion. And then you're throwing him out there at the end of these games and just treating him like, give them Jones to Rico. Here's why you give him to Rico. Because you clearly need to see more, right? So let Rico Dowdle in those blowouts, break off a couple, you know what I mean, shake loose a little bit, run somebody over so you can get more confidence to give him the ball more. We want to roll out Deuce and expect him to truck over a bunch of dudes at the end of the game where they know you're running around. A little strange for me. A little bit too strange for me how they're using these dudes back here, man. Let's try you again, though, Daryl, before I bring you in live. Let me see if I can get you over here. Daryl, you good? Okay. Much better, Daryl. Much better. All right.
Hey, get a better cell line. All right. How's it going this morning? You okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm great. So, this draft, it kind of got on my nerves. And if you remember, I was one of the ones that wanted an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds, and then kind of went around with Vosh about that. And he wanted Mozzie. Well, one of my things is, hey, how old is Dak? Where is he in his window?
Y'all gonna stop putting words in my guy's mouth. Vosh ain't never say I wanted anybody really outside of like Jalen Carter and a lineman. But when we have conversations about players, just because we say, yeah, we'll take a player, doesn't necessarily mean by hook or crook, that's the only player we want. Y'all got to stop doing that.
Well, I guess it's because once he locked in,
he wasn't locked in on Mozzie.
When I say locked in, by this time we already had drafted him.
Okay, so when he's drafted, you evaluate the player, how he fits in your team, and then you have that conversation moving forward. But anyway, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Y'all fans gonna be go ahead. Go ahead. Do your thing.
But my thing, we were still talking about the picks and so forth. Okay. And so like now we're talking about the picks again. And I'm like, that ain't what I would have done because we had a greater need. Not that we didn't have a need to stop the run, but we had a greater need looking at Terrence at our left tackle and our line to me. So that's where I would have and what built us back during the Jason Garrett era, we start emphasizing those number one picks on the line. And that was the foundation, literally and figuratively, of going forward. So my mind is more so there. And because, again, we're in a win-now mode to me. Because of where Dak is in his career, we got about 3 years to take advantage of it.
So what does that mean in regards to a draft class or draft picks? What do you mean by that? Because when you're picking where you're picking, how many draft picks are you counting on to go in here and be like, yo, we're going to win because of that draft pick, right? Like that's how we're going to win. When you speak about win now mode, to me, that's more so like trades and free agency moves, especially when you're picking at the bottom of these drafts, right? Like if you can get one guy, just one out of a draft class of 10 or 11 or whatever it is, 7, that contributes to the point where they're like, hey, that's a needle mover, man, you are so damn lucky. But in reality, that's not always the case. It's barely the case that a rookie is always the dude that sends you over the hump, especially at the end of drafts like that in their very first year, and especially in their first 6 weeks of the season. So I'm with you on win now mode, but again, I don't think you were understanding going into this thing how many rookies were you about to take that was about to put you over the hump. That wasn't going to be the case. They were going to be reserve dudes.
Well, and so in my mind, one of the positions you can pick that can make that kind of move for you is offensive line, which we had a great need for. Another one might be. Did
Tyler Smith put you over the hump last year?
Oh, well, he put us. Well, let's put it this way. Maybe he didn't put us over the hump, but if it had not been for him, we'd have been in deep.
Did he put you over the hump?
No, but okay. What's a different year?
Question. What offensive lineman is putting you over the hump right now?
See, there you go, because I don't know all the different offensive linemen we could have picked.
I didn't. So you come on here and you complain about what they should do, but you don't even know about the dude that you want to get that you think is going to make you such a better team than 4-2 right now, moving forward.
So you saying to me, with your knowledge, you can't tell me a offensive lineman we could have chosen in the first round.
No, what I'm saying to you is I'm not being unrealistic here. I obviously championed for an offensive lineman at the very first 2 or 3 rounds of the draft. But I'm not so far beyond reproach to say that I know that offensive lineman wasn't going to put you over the hump. That draft pick was more so for the future. I wasn't looking at just 2023 because 2023, you've got a good enough offensive line to be able to get the job done. Let's just be completely honest.
Well, that's because so far, Terrence, what's 77 was his name? He hadn't done what he normally does, and you were one of the main people who didn't trust that he would be here. Yeah. So that's why I was thinking that's why there was such a major need for me, more so than the run stopper. Okay. Not saying we didn't need one. Mm-hmm. I just didn't trust the reliability of our O-line, and that's where our other guy last year, he saved our butts because he was able to come in and play two different positions on the line that we had a problem with because of injury. So now we got that, we plugged that hole. If we could have got somebody else to come in again, now right now it looks like he'd have been sitting on the bench, but I'd have been okay with that for now.
Okay.
For now, I'd have been okay with that for now. Okay. Well, maybe not, because he would have played earlier like those other guys did. But anyway, because what we thought would probably happen hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I'll give you the second round. The first round, you got a guy that's actually playing, but you're champion for a guy that'd be sitting the bench. Okay.
Well, that's just because when I was betting on what was more likely to happen than not. and based on recent information. So that's why I was championing for that. So, but that's all I'm saying. So that's when you start talking about that. I wasn't cool with that. I didn't think we needed a schoolmaker because I thought we had two. I thought we had two competent, two young tight ends that we could, step up and roll with. And Jake the Snake, man, I love him. And it's like we are right now trying to pump up the other guy who ain't ready. But this other one who was on the team last year, he was ready to go. And I think it's one of these situations where not only we just trying to prop up who we drafted, but it's one of those things where like, well, it's my guy. And I hate when the NFL does that. Coaches do that, but that's right. That's what's going on.
You're talking about
my guy that I picked. Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect them to do? They're not gonna come out here and be like, I didn't really want this dude. Yeah, they go. You gotta ignore that noise because I know damn well the Cowboys Nation was not talking about that's my guy. No, sir. Cowboys Nation was not claiming Luke Schoonmaker. Might have been like 2 or 3 of y'all out there, but we was on his ass immediately.
Right, and that's another one of those kind of future picks. And yeah, we needed somebody to block, but that's just wasn't the most important thing. No, and that's one of the things. Last episode, one of the things that Jimmy Johnson, we give him a lot of credit for a lot of things, but in my opinion, one of the things he did best was he recognized where the hole was and really got somebody in there to really make a difference. And we seem to be drafting or dealing with the same problems over and over again till we finally get somebody down the road to fill in that needs to be something that needs to be done.
So you questioning the Cowboys draft, like in general?
No, because overall they've done a great job. But where I talk about is who you. So when they choose somebody, that person ends up being quality, but they don't necessarily choose the right position.
Brother, if there was a perfect science to it, we everybody would draft great. Look, after 6 weeks, nobody's going to be jumping for joy for the draft class right now. But they draft pretty well, right? Like they draft pretty well. That's all.
No, you can't argue that. Yeah. No, you can't. Overall, you can't, especially when they're getting Deron Blands of the world, for instance. Yeah. So you really can't. But we evaluate, so you evaluate what you see, and I just would like us to done better.
I'm evaluating them. I'm talking about them on the team. You're going back, and I guess most people will probably do that. I'm not. If you notice, I haven't brought up a single draft pick that the Cowboys passed on or didn't take or whatever because I don't care. That's spilt milk. It means nothing right now. Like there's nothing we can do about that. So I'm trying to figure out what these specific draft picks. I'm evaluating their play on the field. I'm evaluating what they could possibly do moving forward or what they've already done. I'm not whining about spilled milk because there's nothing we can really do about that. We can maybe briefly touch on, hey, we didn't really want Schoonmaker or we want to do this or do that. But I ain't about to make a whole show out of coulda, woulda, shouldas. I can do that for every single damn draft class there is out there. So that's kind of what my intention was for this. My intention wasn't to go back. You go back after like 3 or 4 years. You don't go back after 6 weeks.
Oh, that's what it sounded like you were doing to me. Sorry about that.
There's no way. There's no way you thought that, unless you just missed the entire first part of the show when I was breaking down each. Yeah, okay. I broke down each player and what they were doing in the league now for the Cowboys now, not who you passed on. I didn't bring up a single prospect. I don't believe.
All right, bro. That's all I got for the show.
Okay, man. Appreciate you.
Okay, take care. Peace.
Like if this is going to turn into that, then the floor is y'all. I'm not about to do this for every single call, right? If that's what it's going to turn into, y'all have it, all right? Because after 6 weeks, I'm not going back and looking at every draft pick the Cowboys coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda. No, I'm looking at how are these dudes doing right now? What did they do in the first 6 weeks? Where can we use them better? How can they get better moving forward? I'm talking about either solutions or the what is, not the what could have been. That's just me. But if that's what y'all want to do, that's fine. I'll listen. B Bird, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Scott? How you doing, man?
All right.
Hey, so I got a quick statement. I think with the advent of film, all 22 college, I think people like Foster King, Botch, and other draft people. I think the delta between you and say the personnel or the scouting department is kind of diminishing, to whereas y'all kind of know some stuff. Because I remember when it was rumors in the first round that we were going to draft a tight end, everybody freaked out over it. And we were like, woo, they didn't draft a tight end. They got Mozzie. That's part of the reason why we love having Mozzie, because we didn't get a tight end. But lo and behold, they got one in the second round. Schoolmaker, I guess I definitely didn't want to pick. I thought Ferg was good enough.
Same.
But the thing is, this is my question, and I'm gonna get off the phone after I ask this. Why do you think they were so hell bent on getting a tight end, whereas all of us was like, man, we're good at the tight end position. We got guys, and I also said that Schoolmaker won't even play this year because he's not better than Ferg, just from what I saw. So why do you think they were so hell bent on it? And I'm gonna take it off the air, man, just to see, because I don't understand it. And I'll holler at you later, man.
Appreciate you, B-Bird. Yeah, I kind of briefly spoke on that earlier in regards to 12. My guess was, right, I never believed they were taking a tight end in the first round. Like, I don't give a damn about no Kincaid, none of that. I just didn't believe it. My guess was because of how much 12 personnel they used last year. They were a team who used it top 10 in the league. Like I said, early down, 6 most. All right, and if you go look at the even deeper, and I know Professor O probably got some, the pass yards per attempt, the passer rating. I'm not sure if it was the best personnel group they ran out of, but it was a productive personnel group. So, look, I understood possibly taking a tight end, but I didn't think they'd take one early. So that's probably why they were hell-bent on it. They wanted to keep their 12 personnel package being a staple package rate. Right now, it's not. They're 21st in the league and utilize the 12 personnel with Luke Schoonmaker. And obviously, he's not even getting targeted where, look, I know Jake Ferguson last year wasn't like your highest targeted guy, but I think he has something like 22 targets, 19 receptions. At least he got the ball thrown his way, and he was very productive when he did it. And a lot of times, play action, you saw him leaking, and I just don't see that as Luke's game, where I see that as Ferg's game. And I'm with you, B-Bird, and a lot of people. I was always 10 toes on Ferg. I mean, you could put the film on and understand this dude is a future tight end one in this league. Let him cook. Let him cook. So I think that's why they elected to go tight end. Just that point in time in the draft to me was just like, why? Mother, for what? All right, let's all bow and the draft guru is in the building. Danny Savage. Good morning, good sir.
Good morning, Sky. How's everything going?
All right. And I just find it fascinating that on a day like today is when Danny calls back into the show. Oh, Danny can't wait to talk about draft. You about to give us a day 3 Danny of round 7 prospect. I just know it's coming.
Well, listen, I heard Toxic Tom call, and I had to get in. I hope everything's good with your family. I hope it's been a while since I called. Just busy doing my scouting. Listen, when it comes to the draft, I throw my jokes here and there. It takes 3 years to properly grade the draft. You sure it's not 3 weeks, Danny? Well, we can throw our chimes in, our little shots here, but it does take 3 years to properly, how many years did the Jets want to get rid of Quentin Williams? Yeah. And then the kid turned into $100 million.
That's facts. And that's why I refuse to jump off the cliff right now for any of these dudes in general, but especially for Mozzie, because next thing you know, if he turns into Ron Payne or somebody, we're all jumping for joy, where some people want to throw him out, out the bath.
No, absolutely. I'm going to give you a funny take. The caller prior, Darryl, you said he was choppy. Chop Robinson, Penn State outside linebacker. No, it's not the first rounder. He's a late first rounder, early second rounder. I swear to God, that's his name.
I know, but hold on though, bro. How do we just swerve to talking about prospects?
Because you said when he called, his call was choppy.
It was. Actually, Danny, I'm giving you credit. Fantastic segue. Fantastic segue. Chop who now? Chop Suey?
Chop Robinson, Penn State.
Chop
he's
Robinson.
First round. He's a late first rounder, early second rounder at the least. He's going to go. So I just had to throw that name in there when you said Diallo's call was choppy and you had to drop him.
Unbelievable.
I'm going to throw out two names. Arterius Mims, tackle, Georgia. He's hurt, but he has super potential. I think he's going to be there when we pick. And Kingsley Salterberry, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. He's one of those big island guys. They're just built different. BYU, left tackle. He's a monster. He's going to be first rounder too. Offensive tackle is probably the deepest position in the 2024 draft. And I'm just going to, one question and that's it on this draft. Can't jump off the bridge after 6 weeks, but if you had to go back and trade back 4 picks, and get a third rounder and wind up with Brian Burris or stay pat and take Mozzie, what would you have done? And like I said, it's kind of not a fair question because it's only 6 weeks. I guess it's going to take 3 years.
Yeah, it's hindsight too because Brian Burris is, obviously he's producing it. He's got a couple sacks, I think, over there in the Saints, whereas, he's playing a 3-tech position that allows you to do that. And Mozzie's playing a 1-tech position, and he's a rotation at that, right? He's back up behind Hankins. So it's a bit of a slanted question. I mean, I don't know how many people would say no, they wouldn't trade back 3 spots, but I think Breesy got selected a couple spots after, but trade back 3 spots, get an extra third, and take Breezy. I feel like most people would say, oh, yeah, give me the extra third and give me Breezy, right? But you got to do way better than Breezy at the 3-tech position. His name is also Digizua. I think the whole point was to make sure that you were able to get a 1-tech nose tackle guy for the right now as a rotational and for the future. So now you got Osa and Mozzie as your future interior, where I think you would have still been trying to find a nose tackle of the future that can stay and play 2 or 3 downs for you moving forward. I think you'd have still been searching for that, but neither here nor there.
And I agree with you, and I'm just going to land the plane on. I agree with you 100%.
What I do now, Roland?
I don't think Deuce is being used right. I think he has to be used like Tony Pollard, just coming out of the backfield and catching passes. And I'm going to land the plane and hope everything's good with your family and hope great show. You and Bob. And one thing before I leave, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you start your channel yet, man?
I just bought I spent like 4 G's on an Apple laptop. Trust me, the channel's coming.
Oh, if you drop the bag on a laptop, Danny, you better start this channel. Even if you don't show face, right? Like, even if you don't show face.
Oh, no, I'll show face. I got a great voice and a pretty face. Yo, trust me. I'm joking.
For real, man. For real. Because I saw a couple weeks ago, you was like, yeah, man, putting in hours or whatever in research. And I'm like, man, you got a passion for this. You obviously have a passion for it. You enjoy it. You believe in what you see. And I think people, you think I'm playing when I talk about Day 3 Danny. I think people will 100% tune in to listen to, prospect talk throughout the season. So, you got all these names. I'm going to forget all these names, but come on back around, March and we can wrap.
And like I said, only one promise that you're my first subscriber.
Of course, bro. Soon, I promise you, bro. Soon as you make the page and you drop it in here, you're gonna get our support. I'll be in there for sure.
You're the man, Sky. I love the show. Listen, you and Voch on later or no?
Bye week, still kind of a bit of a bye week. So I believe midweek is when we'll pick things up here for Voch. We'll break down the Rams.
All right, no problem. I'll be hanging with Mo tonight. You got it, man. Great show as always.
All right, man.
Thank
Peace.
You.
I knew Day 3 Danny. He didn't give us Day 3, but he gave us a Day 1. I'm going to forget it. But come on back and I'll remember about March. Drop them names. I'll get in the lab. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, 4G's kind of crazy. What kind of laptop you get, sir? Elon Musk? Milton said, one thing I want to know is when TP gets a nice long run, they take him out the next play is backwards. I think it kind of depends on the run. Like that 60-yarder, like you kind of need a blow right there, right? Like you need to, tap the shoulder, come on out. But they did that with Rico. Not necessarily a nice long run, but a decent run. Get me started on this Rico thing, man. It's madness. Alienware. Yeah, I'm very aware of Alienware. I don't have that, though. I got a different supercomputer. By the way, shouts out to y'all. We did get the supercomputer. I forgot to talk to y'all about that. If you can't tell, things have been much better. We did have the little issue on Vosh's show last week, but things have been going a lot smoother. I'm able to do a little bit more things. Still only a one-man band, so I still can't do everything I want to do. But we cleaned it up a little bit, so appreciate y'all. Let's get Kobe from Tennessee up here. What's good, Kobe?
This morning.
Yo. Cool.
Yeah, no, man. I'm gonna flip the script.
Okay.
I'm gonna flip the script on what everybody else was talking about. I'm genuinely curious on other people's positions because, this year compared to previous years, specifically talking about the run game, I feel like last year and prior to that, Pollard was being used in the right way. Pollard isn't necessarily, run straight up the middle type running back. He had the speed to go from the outside and get past people. Well, I'm kind of on the train of trying to go get some big back that can run up the middle and throw people down. And I'm just curious what your outlook is on King Henry from Tennessee.
Well, look, man, I think there's a fair conversation to have here where when you say big back, I say, well, you got big back on the team. You got guys who can get powerful and get downhill or whatever, right? But then when you bring up a guy like King Henry, how many people going to complain about having Derrick Henry on the team, right? Like, if you can go get Derrick Henry, it don't cost you nothing. I'm not about to sit here and complain about that. Your backfield improves immensely with Derrick Henry. So there's that. But then there's the other side. If you go get King Henry and you're just going to run him out of shotgun with the spotty offensive line that can't get any push, then how much is that really going to help, right? Like, how much is it? What makes Derrick Henry so good is he has really good vision. They get him in like this zone blocking scheme where he has 3 or 4 options, continue to go outside, cut it back into the B or A gap, or, hit the C gap. Like he's one of those backs where you don't nerf him either, right? So again, to me, Kobe, it's not necessarily about a specific player, although if you get you a Henry, hey, it's more about how they're using these dudes. Like you said when you started the call off, like why if the idea early in games is to just, hey, we're just gonna run downhill, we're just kind of soft up the defense, or we're just running to run, then do that with somebody else. Do that with somebody 100%.
Else. I feel like the Cowboys have always been like this, though. Especially going back to like Ezekiel Elliott starting days. It's almost like they find a guy and they're like, all right, that's our guy. Who cares, if we got anybody else that does a job better? I felt like in certain games, Rico looked like he was running a hell of a lot better than Pollard was, specifically, up the middle.
There you go.
I just feel like they go away from it. They go away from it so quick, and it kind of confuses me. I'm like, why would you go away from that success and then go back-to-back throwing Pollard up the middle and gaining 2 yards, and here we are on a 3rd and 8, and now we're trying to pass the ball.
I mean, to be fair,
it's just odd.
They weren't blocking well for Rico either out of those same exact formations. Rico's best run,
true,
under center, zone to the left, stick your foot in the ground, get downhill. Rico's 2 worst runs after that, shotgun, handoff, up the middle, 2 yards, cloud of dust. Like, if that's how you're going to use these guys, shotgun runs all the damn time, you're not helping Rico, you're not helping Tony Pollard, you're not helping Deuce Vaughn, you're not helping you're not helping your offensive line. You are making things so much more difficult. Guess when Tony Pollard got his best run? Oh, you got him to the edges. Would you look at that? Use these guys to their strengths. If you do that, I think you'll be fine. If you bring in whomever, James Conner, King Henry.
What was the time count on our O line?
What do you mean?
As far as all them not playing together.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a discussion too, Kobe. Right? Like this is only their second game playing together. They've.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
It'll get better. You know, don't freak out and think, oh, we need new offensive linemen. You know,
Nah,
give them time to get in a rhythm. You know, I mean, it happens. Look at what Philadelphia did last year, and look at Philadelphia. You know, obviously they're 6-1, but not a lot of their games have looked very pretty. But they're getting the job done. It's not the greatest thing.
Perfect team to talk about there, right? Like Philly, San Fran, Miami. These are some of the top rushing teams in the league. Like, who's their big bruising back? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Nobody.
Who's the big bruiser that they got on their, that they just running 15 times? They don't have that because you know why? They know how to utilize these guys. They have an actual run scheme that they use that gets some of these smaller dudes going, right? And that's why, to me, I look around the league and I'm like, yeah, if you got a big back on the roster, which you got technically you have one. If you got a downhill strong runner, which technically you got one, it doesn't necessarily have to be a 300 or 250 pound dude. If you get an AJ Dillon or Derrick Henry, awesome. But I don't think it's necessarily needed. I think what you need right now is to utilize the dudes you got better and put your offensive linemen in situations to succeed. Tyron loves to get out wide. He loves to get going and get him out and let him pull. Get Tyler Smith to the second level. And like you said, though, 2 games, offensive line hasn't had great communication. We saw that on one of the very first plays in San Francisco. Tyler Smith and Tyler Biadasz weren't on the same page. Against the Chargers, Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith had conversations on the sideline like, hey, when I do this, you do that. So they're getting it together, but I just think it's very simple, Kobe. You got the backs, you just ain't utilizing them right.
But I feel that. Like I said, I was just curious on your take on it because you know how Cowboys Nation is. You know, we fantasize about something and then we just can't stop talking about it until we're told, nope, it ain't happening or it is happening. So I'd been hearing that in the grapevine, so I was just curious on your take. But
I get it,
I
brother.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Good stuff, Cope.
But y'all have a good one, brother.
You too. Look, I totally get the conversation, and I can admit that it's a fair conversation when you kind of look at it without dissecting it, right? Like if you just step back, what the networks do for the most part, right? Step back, they need a boom, 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 boom. But then if you're actually watching our squad and you realize they really don't. Like Rico you give Rico 8 to 10 carries, you're going to get some of that. He reminds me of Isaiah Pacheco in the sense of, right? They run angry. He's not a big dude. But he bounces off of guys. He gets downhill fast. He gives you that physical aspect, that kind of bruiser mentality. I call it, a Marion Barber light because they run like that. But if you're going to put him in shotgun and you're not going to use motion and everything is static and you just say, hey, open up a lane and you guys ain't opening up a lane, then you nerf what he can bring to you. You're not giving Rico a head start downhill. Right? You're not doing that. If you do want the 235 plus pound guy, his name is Hunter Lipke. Get on the goal line, hand the ball off to him, put his head down, push the pow, touchdown type situation. So I get it, right? Like you want to go get a AJ Dillon, Derrick Henry, but I just named you those top 3 teams that run the ball well, if not better than most teams in the league. They don't have a Derrick Henry, an AJ Dillon. It's because they have a scheme. I digress. Three more. 901, 409, and my boy J Jack. What's good, 901? Not 901.
What's good? What's good? You hear me?
What's happening? Yep.
Man, I just want to talk about, I've been a Cowboy fan since '77, and it's just kind of hurt my feelings, man, just the way we do things as business.
Sure.
And I don't think we're going to reach that hump, man. We're going to get over that hump until we get better coaching. Because if you look at Jerry Jones' tenure,
I was just about to say. So who's responsible for the coaching? If you are in belief that it's coaching, right?
Yeah, it's Jerry. It's Jerry. If you look at us, man, we have never had a coordinator in the 2000s up until this point that has been so good that they got a head coaching job somewhere else. We get recycled coaches that's on their way out the door in the unemployment office, and we expect them to take our talent and go above and beyond and make great players when they're just not doing it. They were let go at other places because they were mediocre.
No. Sean Payton is the only one, right? And that was like early 2000s.
Yeah, Sean Payton is the only one. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sean Payton is the only one. He was on the Bill Parcells. But after that, every coach we had, once we let them go, they went as a coordinator somewhere else. Like Jason Garrett was out the lead in, 12 games at the Giants?
You are preaching to the choir. We had this conversation, Special K and us last week, where if you're talking about offensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, I mean, Jason Garrett goes to the Giants, gets canned. Where's Scott Linehan? He's somewhere in college. I don't know. Bill Callahan, they said, sir, you can't call plays no more. He's an offensive line coach now. Kellen Moore, you know, he went over to the Chargers, and we see what he's doing over there. But you're absolutely right. It's not like teams were clamoring to get these guys after they've been with the team for a number of years to run their organizations. So that's fair.
Exactly. You know, even with defense, we had Chris Shaw did well for a time, but they're not getting promoted. Like you got these guys, Phillies coach, second year he's taken to the Super Bowl. In 2017, Doug Peterson, second year they win the Super Bowl. All these new coaches are coming up. Shanahan, 3 years he got the 49ers in the Super Bowl. We need some young minds, man, because we're taking this talent out of college, but we're trying to do an old school approach to these young guys. They've been running spread offenses and running all over the field, all in high school now. And then we take them and we try to do what we did in 92 and 93 and 94 when Jimmy built that team off speed and aggressiveness. You know what I'm saying? And we just can't do that anymore. We got to get a young mind, but Jerry wants to win his way. And that's it. And it's not working. I mean, 27, 20 years, we're going to continue to be the laughing stock until something changes. And, we all know that the guys on the four-letter network say we're delusional. We just loyal fans. We loyal. Cowboys fans are very loyal. And we just hope for the best every year. We hoping to get lucky one year and take it all the way and get that chip again. But there's no reason we should be 28 years and not even reach a championship game.
None.
And I just want to point that out, man. As I hear a lot of people want to blame Dak. They want to blame Dak. Of course, that's the popular thing to do is blame Dak. But, it's just Dak is doing the same thing Romo did. We can't get past the divisional round.
Yeah.
It's the same scenario. It's like Jerry Jones wants to hire people to play chess, but they're checkers players. You don't make the same moves in chess and checkers.
Sure. Yeah, man. It's a conversation we pretty much have, I feel like, annually during the off season. So you spot on. If this was April or May, we'd be going in. But there ain't nothing we can do about that at this moment right now. But yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all time, man. Great listening to your show, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Sometimes you get one of these during the season, and you just got to say, you preach to the choir. I mean, starts at the top. I don't know how many times we got to say this. And yes, toxic, you have to overcome it. Okay? I get it. But I promise you, if I came on here every single day and I just talked about that specific thing, y'all tune me out right away. Definitely during the regular season. Can't do it, won't do it. But I respect what y'all saying or what the caller said because I believe that as well. I just, for the sake of my damn mental health, I can't come on here and talk about that every day. $409, what's up?
What's up, Sky? How you doing, man?
All right.
Yeah, man. I saw the round table last, a few days ago, and man, I gotta commend y'all. Very informative. It was great. Everybody wasn't talking over everybody. Y'all have a great mutual respect, and y'all gave out some great content, man. I really enjoyed the show. I really hope y'all would probably get together, once a month or so or whatever, man, because y'all really did a great job on that.
Thank you, sir.
No problem, man. The offensive line, man, That's going to be key. Now, with offensive line, sometimes it's the sum of the parts. It's what they call the continuity.
Yeah.
Everybody on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we get everybody on the same page, I really believe that, we'll have a pretty good offensive line.
I agree.
I'm still, I'm still saying, we got older dudes, man, and somehow we need to work some of these younger players in there. I don't know in the middle of the season how exactly you can, do all that, but barring injury, I really, and I it's hard to think that, that Tyron gonna stay the whole year. It's hard to put all your apples in that basket. I think Nate Newton said it best. On offense, you got 4 or 5 players, and that's who get the ball. You know what I mean? You got Cooks, you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Turpin, you got Pollard, and Ferguson. And after that is everybody else. Get a pass here or there. We kind of get enamored with some of the younger players, rookies and stuff, and everything like that. But we got 4, 5, 6 players that should be getting the ball on offense. That's who should be getting the ball. I know they talk about spreading it around, but if CeeDee Lamb is hot, man, ride that horse till ride it till the wheels fall off. You hear what I'm saying?
I'm with you on that, and we talk about this on the roundtable actually, and I think Dak is not a guy who is really going to do that often. I think you might get a game here or there, but I think it needs to be piercing his head like, man, screw. I know this is going to sound crazy because I don't want to say screw, a scheme or screw a play call. But there's some times where I'm like, man, I get my first read might say this, and it might be there because of the coverage they're giving me. But this CeeDee Lamb, this Brandon Cooks, like I'm looking here. But this is the gift and curse with Dak. I'm a coach's player. I'm going to do what I'm told, yada, yada, yada. So if the first read is over here to Michael Gallup and he hits that slant and he's got the coverage, I'm going to throw it. Me personally, screw all that because Gallup ain't like that. I'm going over here. That's where we want to get the little bit of the in the system. So I'm with you, man. Like, I think we're kind of going back on the words that McCarthy used to preach, which was player over plays. And I'm not saying it's because our plays ain't even the greatest, but it's more so now like reads over our players. Like if it's 1, 2, 3, and this is the read, you get it out. What I love that they did against the Chargers though is they deliberately said we're going to find ways to get CD involved, and they did that. We're going to find ways to. It's not just 1, 2, 3 back foot, let it rip, or back foot hitch. It was okay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's let these routes develop a little bit more intermediately and downfield. If we could build on top of that, I think we will see more CeeDee Lamb getting spammed, more Brandon Cooks. As long as they say Michael Gallup ain't the guy, but we'll wait and see what's up with that. So I'm with you.
What was that, Sky? High comedy, man. Vach's show, you and Vach was on the show, man. Y'all got a caller that wanted Shadur Sanders or Caleb Williams. Man, that was hilarious, dog. That reminds me of talking to some dudes in the hood, man, like Debo. Hey, man, look, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to talk to the GM, and they're going to give me this. You hear what I'm saying? It ain't going to be no ifs, ands, or buts. We going to get this here. I'm going to go over there and punch him in his nose and say, here, take Chauncey Golston, take Tyler Williams, and you're going to give me Caleb Williams. It's like, it was crazy, man. I laughed so hard, dog. I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
And Voch was attacking this dude, man. That was too crazy, dog.
So y'all get angry, Sky, a lot, right? And sometimes, look, I'll be honest, sometimes we understand there's content. We like to have fun with it with y'all a little bit. Yeah. But then there's sometimes, though, we be like, y'all out y'all rabbit ass mind. In that case, Voch was dead serious. And for the first time in a long time, I was able to sit back and be like, That's what I got to deal with sometime, Voch. Now you finally got to deal with this stuff. But nah, he handled it well, man. But we turned this into a thing. Me and Mel were talking about this. There's a case now that's being made where it's anything but Dak. And I got this from Voch where he used to say anything but I forget the Bull's name. Anything but who was the safety that we used to have? God dang, it's skipping my mind. He was with the Raiders for a little bit. I cannot remember his name. White dude. I forget his name. But anyway.
Damn.
I know.
Heath?
Yes. Anything but Heath, right?
Yeah.
Anything but Jeff Heath. We're at the point now where it's anything but Dak Prescott for people that are out. Like we don't care who it is. Just give us anything but this guy. That's kind of where he was at with it. So I thought it was hilarious.
I don't give a damn.
I don't care who it is. Anything but this dude, and we straight. Everything is fixed. We're good to go. It's like, golly, man. We
Look, I played it probably about 4 or 5 times, man, because if I want to laugh, that is it, man. I sent it to one of my partners, man, and he said it sounded like somebody that we grew up with, like one of them Devo characters in the neighborhood. Man, that was too funny. Homeboy, let me pull this F over, because
He did. He pulled over. Oh, what was his name? I forget his name. But my man said I pulled over to tell y'all this.
Jerome or
Jerome?
I think it was Jerome.
Something.
Yeah, something like that. Probably Jerome want to squabble.
Yeah! They squabbling out there now. Yeah!
Appreciate you, bro. What's your name?
Hey, man. My name is Poindexter.
Poindexter.
It has, Poindexter, yeah. But Sky, man, look, it has been a pleasure talking to you, man. I don't get to call a whole lot of pretty busy schedule. Look, I'm a basketball referee, and we're going to start basketball season, so I'm studying, getting out.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Poindexter, y'all hated me, bro. Y'all hated me when I played. Oh,
I didn't hate nobody. Look,
no, they hated me. Y'all see how I am, right? Most of this comes from obviously my competitiveness in sports and whatnot. But once I start playing basketball, it was like I never took the football mentality off. I didn't turn it off. And the referee, they couldn't stand me, man. I was out there always just a menace. So salute to y'all for dealing with a bunch of guys like me out there.
Hey, man, basketball is fun. Look, you go down court, you call a traveling call. One side of the fandom say you crap, the other side is cheering. You go down the court, call another call. The people that was cheering you is not calling you crap, and the people that was calling you crap is not cheering you. Hey. So it goes back and forth, man, and you don't even worry. You really focus on calling the game. And having fun with them kids, man.
I was about to say, so are you a referee that has fun out there? Because we used to have this one ref, right?
Oh, man.
We used to have this one ref. Hold on. We used to have this one ref, bro, where anytime he called travel, right, he didn't say walk. He didn't say travel. Y'all remember Dante Culpepper? Y'all remember his celebration where he would go like that? You can't see me, but he would be like, steps, and then he'd do the Dante Culpepper. He wouldn't say walk. He'd say steps, and he would have everybody just dying in that damn gym, man. I used to love that referee because he had fun with it. Like, what the hell is a step?
Look,
it's walk, man. It's travel, not step. But I love refs like that.
We have so much fun with some of these dudes, man. Now, I've been doing it for a while, and some of the times I do training with some of the younger referees, and I try to tell them to stay away from that. There are certain calls, you make the calls, there are certain signals that you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I know you see the Earl Strongs on TV and all these dudes doing these
Joey
things.
Crawford.
Yeah, they afforded that because that's where they on their level. But make the call, do the thing right, and go on about your business, because I understand some people say, I saw this referee doing this and that. Well, when I get out on the court, I don't want nobody even know I was there. I don't want to have nothing to do with the game. I want to see these kids play. We have a saying, you can be refereeing and miss a good game. You know what I'm saying? You'll miss a good game refereeing. Just enjoy the game. Let the game flow. Make your calls. Get out the way and let these kids do what they do. This is a great time for these kids. When they finish school 2 years from now, they're not going to even worry about who won or lost. They're gonna laugh about the competition that they had. Hey, man, we beat y'all by 40 points. It ain't going to be no big deal. Man, I remember when you dribble the ball up here. They just going to laugh and joke about it. Yeah, it's a big rivalry at the time, But you have to think, a year, 2 years, the only thing they're going to think, hey, man, the referee called a good game and we had fun.
I'll tell you right
You know
now,
what I'm saying?
unless they got like a tech or something, they ain't thinking about y'all after that. But appreciate your point,
No,
Dexter.
that's what I'm saying. You know, I got kids walk up to me say, hey, what's up, Ralph? And I don't even know their name. Oh, number 23. Yeah, I remember you. You know what I mean? But it's fun, man. And like I say, some of the dudes that I used to referee, now they coaches at the high school level and stuff like that. So they respected me when I called in. So they respect me as coach. I don't really have a whole lot of stuff from coaches and stuff and everything because I come out, do the game professionally, and they
you know keep it moving.
They don't give a hard time about nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as you professional, you call the game, and they know you're gonna be unbiased. You know, I might even like some of these people, man, but I gotta be unbiased because when you put that in, you're gonna mess up something. You feel what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So you just want to call the game, and most of the time they're gonna respect you because they know you're gonna call.
100%. Appreciate your point.
Man, look,
I said I appreciate your point, Dexter. Make sure you call in again, man.
Hey, man. Yeah, for sure, man. Have a blessed day.
You as well, sir. Man, Poindexter got me cracking up. Got a little bumpy there. But Poindexter got me cracking up, man. Steps. Man, I got to show Juwan this clip. My man, Juwan. We used to do that for years after that referee did that, man. Joey Crawford giving technical fouls and Tim Duncan for laughing on the... Yeah, y'all got to chill. Y'all referees out there got to chill. Last night, them referees got to chill. Like, look, there was a point in time in that game, the Dolphins had like 8 penalties. I don't know what they finished with. And Philly finished, I don't know what they finished, but they had 0 in the fourth quarter. I ain't gonna get into the whole betting aspect of it and things like that, but fun. They had 0 flags. So they finished, was it? Damn. Hey, bro, there's no way, man. In the National Football League, a team finishes the game with 0. Like, they literally didn't commit a penalty for 60 minutes on either side of the ball plus special teams. You a goddamn lie. Got. G-O-T. You a goddamn lie. Ain't commit no penalty in 60 minutes. Come on, man. 10-0. Now, I ain't saying that's why they lost, by the way. I'm just saying, like, at some point, they got to go back and look at that and say, hey, man, what were you seeing here? You know, when Ced Wilson's face is getting torn off, what are you seeing here? When Jalen Phillips is getting, you know, DDT'd and David Long Jr. By the way, David Long Jr. Like, look, man, I'm not saying I'm not no scout and I ain't none of that. But damn it, David Long Jr. We wouldn't be talking about no linebackers if we would have just went and got David Long Jr. like I told them to go get. That man's a beast. All right, super chats. We got a couple of them today. D Webb, he dropped a couple of them. Appreciate the D Webb.
Super chat.
Dropped 2 and 2 and said, where did the Cowboys get better from 22? You mean like personnel wise, or you mean statistically? Because personnel wise, I think they have a better receiving core. I think they have a better linebacker core. I think your defense is better against the run. I mean, they've gotten better in places, but we're not a finished product in week 6. We're not a finished product. He says, D Webb, let's rank the position groups on a scale 1 to 5. Shit, only like 5. Has anything really changed from the preseason? Where, you know, defensive line, we go D-line, I think was number 1 for the Cowboys. I'd say DB or wide receiver number 2 or 3. So DB, wide receiver, how you want to do it? Tight end, I think, would be 5. Running back 4. Or linebacker 5. I mean, I don't really know what the... But I think you'd go D-line, DB... When Diggs was here, you could argue D-line, DB 1, 2. Wide receiver core, O-line would be your top 4, and you can switch those around all you want, but that's probably where we'd go. And then maybe linebacker 5 or running back 5 or tight end 5 or whatever. I think that's about fair. I don't think much has changed. That's basically what I'm getting at. Towboat Ty.
Super chat.
He dropped 10. He said, if draft position really matters, then why is Trey a third backup? Trey Lance, a third backup, and he was an early first-round pick, and Brock Purdy is starting, and he was the last pick in the draft. What are we doing, bro? Politics. Politics matter in certain cases, but mostly here. There's teams that will acquiesce to politics and then eventually say, be damned with it, and they'll move forward. And that's what they did. CT said QB not top. I mean, he's one person. I mean, we're not really. Are we counting the quarterback room? I didn't think we really had to count the quarterback room. I mean, obviously, if we're counting the quarterback room, yeah, that's clearly top 5. But Trey Lance, and if we're talking about the rooms, right, the units, as he say, top 5 groups, I got to include Trey Lance and Cooper Rush. I don't really count the quarterback room. So let's take out the quarterback room. The quarterback room is one guy. Because if that quarterback goes down, all your hopes of being a Super Bowl champion diminish. And some people don't even believe in that guy in general. So let's just eliminate that. Where I'm looking at the units where there's at least more than 2 dudes that account for that, right? Like D-line, O-line, running back, tight ends. There's like 3 to 4 to 5, if not 7 guys that count for that. Hack 1988.
Super chat.
He dropped 5 and said, nah, not Angry Sky, but Do-Rag Sky. Had people shook in the chat. I've done that before. But I guess on Friday, y'all was definitely feeling a do-rag. Yeah, I rocked the do-rag before. I'm about to switch up. I'm about to start getting the turbans. Appreciate you, Laurel. Laurel said, in closing. And he laughed a little bit and said, great show, Sky.
Super chat.
With his super chat. Murph says, what place are the Cowboys in? Oh, I don't think he's a Cowboy fan. I just happened to scroll up. Place where in the conference, in the division. I think this is a little bit of a trolling, I'd imagine. I'll let y'all deal with all that. D Webb said A to Z dollars. Leonard Fournette, running back, Desmond King, corner, both unsigned, under 30. Well, D Webb, if you were here in the offseason, you know I was a fan of Lenny. I got tomatoes thrown at my ass for that one. But again, I don't think this is a product of player. This is a product of the how. But again, if we bring in a power back, fine. Just utilize said power back. The reason why I was also in on Lenny is that I don't think he hurts you from a passing game standpoint either. Like, you can keep him out there, pick up the blitz, throw it to him. He got a ton of catches under Tom. But the Desmond King one is interesting. I wouldn't necessarily label him as a corner. He's kind of been more like a hybrid corner, but he's been like safety. But I've been a Desmond King fan, bro. Like, he can return. He can do some safety things. He can do some cornerback things. I don't know why he got cut. Was it Pittsburgh that signed him? Maybe it's over for him. Maybe he's washed. Maybe he's done. I don't know. But I like that. I like that idea of Desmond. If he's not hurt, I know the Cowboys are looking for DB depth. I think there might be something there for him as a depth guy. We are 10 toes though as a franchise. Stephen Jones as like giving our guys all the chances in the world, man. And sometimes I just wish they would just be like, nah, let's go get this dude. This dude is better than our guy. And that's not in the Desmond King situation, but in other situations. And just make the move, you know, sign the bread or whatever. But we big on it. T-Dub, do we run any pistol? Could it offset gun run woes? I don't think so. Because the problem with running out of shotgun for me is that it's static. Like, it's not taboo to run out of shotgun. But unless you got a line that's like Phillies, where they're just pushing you, right? I mean, these dudes are sharp. There is no trying to get it together. They already won, right? Because the Philly is static for the most part. They're static offense, but they got the know-how down. And obviously their quarterback is a threat to run the ball. He's not great knowing it, but he's a threat to run the ball. So I'm not taboo against it, but I think you have to be creative with it, right? For instance, I don't know if I got to play, but we ran out of shotgun to Tony Pollard, but guess what we did? Pin pull. You get the wide receiver pinning down the defensive end or linebacker, right? And you got Tyron Smith outside, and you get a nice little toss to TP, and now we're getting 7-8 yards, right? Like, so you can do it that way. You can do some shotgun action where, Miami does this all the time. They've got guys running behind in orbit motion. They've got guys running cross face, quick jet sweep, fake the jet sweep, toss it outside. Like, they're attacking those edges purposefully. So I don't mind it if they do it. They just got to do it with a little bit more creativeness. You can't get back there in the shotgun. It looks just like we did against Arizona. I always bring that game up. There's no motion. There's no eye candy. And we just like, all right, set hut. And we get no running start for the line or for the running back. Hand it off, run up the middle. That's lazy. That's lazy, man. Anybody know why Desmond King is out there? Like, what happened with that, man? I like Desmond King. Is my man an Eagle fan? Man, if he is, cool. He ain't said nothing crazy. I ain't about to finna go back and forth with him. Yeah, he can, Mel. He said the QB in Philly can keep it. He ain't been that great, though, in doing it. He ain't been that great. Them push touchdowns is cool, but I wonder if he hurt. And we'll talk about that in week 9, but he a little bit more smoother. But when he run, he look like he don't even really want to anymore. That's all I'm saying about that. I'll leave it at that. All right, any more? Let me refresh this. Oh, bro, we won 10:44 on a Friday talking about the Rooks with no game. Y'all, 2 hours. Y'all the best. Y'all the best. All right, we good, man. We good. We're going to preview all of that. Week 9, we will preview all of that. But starting tomorrow, we're going to get into the Rams preview. I already briefly started looking at their film yesterday. Got 4 games loaded up. We're going to look at their offense tomorrow. The Stafford McVay offense. They had a running back that just started going berserk, but I think got hurt. But the Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp offense, right? We're going to take a look at all these guys tomorrow. Possibly wrap to Koye. We'll do Koye Wednesday. We'll keep that going. Koye on Wednesday. And then Thursday we'll talk to Pat. But we'll preview this Rams game tomorrow. So make sure y'all come back through. Before y'all do that, don't head on out. If you enjoyed today's show, go ahead and hit that like button, man. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. If you're new here and you like what you see, I advise becoming a subscriber. We drop videos on a daily, live streams Monday through Friday in the morning. And then our guy, Mauricio Rodriguez, for the primetime show. At some point, we're going to get, like the Titans, they're our mother program over there, A to Z Sports Nashville. They got a Titans at 2. At some point, we're going to get a midday, I won't call it a show, but some midday content going. That'll be cool too. And usually, me and Vosh will be on Vosh and Barty live on the volume, but not today. We'll be picking up the Rams preview in the middle of the week. He'll keep you posted on that, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, no show today over there. All right. With that said,
push the goddamn button.
Push that button. I'll press the button if y'all press the button. That like button. Come on back tomorrow. We'll be talking Rams offense, which has been up and down, but it's McVay, it's Stafford. They can do some things to get you. But I like our chances, man. I like our chances. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all there. Love y'all. Peace.
Bomb Squad!